This image was taken at an event. I can't remember the name of the event now, but it was around the back of, I think it was a hip hop event, and a couple of my friends were performing, and the photographer that took this picture, he was just kind of taking pictures of people against this kind of bit of plywood. And I remember feeling really, because I don't really enjoy having my picture taken. I'm not kind of one of these people that shies away from having their picture taken all the time, but I don't really enjoy it. And I had my picture taken, and he was like, come on, do you want to have your picture taken? So I just kind of jumped in really quick, and he had this light, and he took the picture, and I saw the picture, and I was like, bloody hell, I look great. And I don't like taking my picture because I always think I look awful. And I felt like I looked really good. The first time ever, I felt like I looked really great. Like, the styling of what I was wearing, my hair, like everything just felt like it had come together at that moment. And I felt like, yeah, I'm all right. So I chose that picture because it felt like one of the best pictures that I've ever had taken of me. I think about starting with my mum. It was just me and my mum growing up, and she was a very young mum, and she used to twist my neck into all kinds of contortions just so she could give me cane row. And I remember every single must have been Saturday or Sunday night, I had to sit there for hours as she twists up my head and she twists up my neck, and she pulling me this way and she pulling me that way to be able to get the cane row. And and it was always beautiful. She was very skilled. She'd do all different types and have it in all different styles and stuff, and it looked great every single time. And the next morning, or whenever it was the school week, I'd always go to school with new hair or into the shop, and they'd be like, oh, your hair's done so nice. And I was like, I don't know the torture I went through. Because it's not just the twisting. If I'm not sitting right, then I'm getting chopped in the head with the comb. Sit down, Robert. Sit down, all of that. You know what I mean? It was hard work, man. It was hard work. So when I was like, I don't know, a teenager, like 17 or something. No, first of all, when I was 14, I decided I was going to take my agency of my hair, and I was going to relax my hair. Oh, that was a bad thing to do. I was going to take agency, and I was going to relax my hair, and I hadn't asked permission or anything. And my friend was going to do it from one of those kits, those kits that you can get from and I was relating this to some of my students the other day, and talking specifically about this notion of being beautiful. And I used Michelle Obama as an example, and how when she was expected, like Michelle Obama's got her natural hair and whatever, but when she's expected to be official and be smart and she has to sort of straighten the hair and give a little bit of a bounce and all of this. And that's not to say that she shouldn't, and she looks amazing. But I don't want that to be the only, it's still for all, the world is reading us as if you have your natural kinky coily hair, then something is wrong. And I'm going to use the very recent, just yesterday, or Sunday night, it was the Oscars with Lupita having her natural hair on the red carpet. And honestly, you should see some of the commentary. It's terrible. I mean, there's the whole thing about her being dark skinned as well. So, we ain't got time to discuss all of that, but it's a real thing. We are read as being unruly, unkempt, not beautiful with our natural hair. And I think that's a real issue. It really aligns with this sense of how we present ourselves to the world and what that means. It's not just the reading of people outside of the community onto us and what that's projected onto us. It's the reading of ourselves with each other as well, because we have all been conditioned, if you like, to believe that the things about ourselves are unacceptable. Then, as you were saying with your hair, we have tried to do whatever we can to placate the wider society and placate each other. I very rarely wear my afro out. And I was thinking the other day, I walked into college and I saw a student with her afro, and I was like, oh, I so want to wear my afro. But I know that it's a beacon for for attention that I may not want. But I love my afro, and I really like feeling, I mean, not when it's raining, but feeling the freeness of having the wind go through my hair and feeling like it can. And I haven't seen it in a while. And the last time I did see it, it was, I realized it was that beacon for people. You know, I think people, especially at the fashion college, know not to touch other people's hair and know not to try and reach for other people's hair, particularly when they see an afro, which they don't see often. But still, for all, people have got something to say. And so whenever I've had my afro and I've been around other people in the community, the question has always come to me, oh, what are you doing with your hair? Or what, like, it's done. This is what I'm doing with it. This is how it looks right now. You know, because again, as I was saying, there is the belief that to not have your hair curated or cultivated in some way that the wider society sees as acceptable means that you're unkempt, you're being, you know, you're being avant-garde, you're doing something outside of the ordinary, you know. And I think that a lot of my work at the moment is really talking about how women, particularly older women as well, over the age of 65, have tried to use their clothing to try and placate those external voices. And actually not just external voices, those external voices then become internal voices, because those external voices have been with us since childhood, since we were, you know, developing our own sense of self. And so then they become the voices that we speak to ourselves in. Those voices of dissent, those voices of disgust and being put down are the same voices that we speak to ourselves in. And so I'm really trying to speak to these, or I've done the fieldwork now, but I've been speaking to my participants about how they've tried to address those issues within themselves, and how they've tried to kind of dress their hair, dress their body in a way that's going to placate those voices, you know. And it's difficult, you know. Again, there's no, you've really got to do the work. You've really got to do the internal work, you know, to feel 100% with yourself.